In this video, I'm going to show you how to find the quotient and then how to round our answer to the nearest whole number, first decimal, second decimal, or third decimal. So here's our question. What is 31.71 divided by 4? So remember, the quotient is just the answer to a division problem. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to solve the question using long division. So I've got 31.71 inside this funny looking bracket, and then 4 on the end, which we call the divisor. If you need a reminder, we have the division symbol, the times, the takeaway, and the drop step to help us remember what order to solve our question. So let's start with 4 going into 3. How many 4s go into 3? The answer is 0. We can't. If I have 4 lollies and I have 3 people, not everyone's going to get one. So nobody ends up getting any because we need to make it fair. So then we do times. So what is 4 times our answer, which was 0? And that equals 0. Then we have takeaway. So we have 3 takeaway 0 is 3. Now drop step. So then I bring this 1 down. My answer is 31. We start again, so we have to division again. So we've got what is 31 divided by our divisor, 4. How many 4s go into 31? So we can count by 4s. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28. Then the next one will be 32. So that'll be too much. So 28, it goes in 7 times. So my answer is 7. 4, so 31 divided by 4 is 7. So we can do times. So that means 4 times our answer 7 was 28. Now we do subtract. To find out what's our remainder. So 31 take away 28 is 3. But if you can't do it in your head, I guess you could cross off the 3, make it 2, make this now 11. 11 take away 8 is 3. 2 to win 2 is nothing, so I've just got 3 remainder. Now I've got the drop step, so I've gone past the decimal. So I need to put in the decimal in my answer. Now I drop this 7. Now I've got 37 as my next question. So let's continue. I might just rub this out so it's just a bit easier to read. It's not letting me rub it out. That's okay. I'll just keep going even though it's not rubbing out. What is 37 divided by 4? So we know that 4 goes into 28 7 times. Let's keep going. So I'm on 28. Then I'm on 32. So that's 8. Then plus another 4 will be 36. So that's 9. So it goes in 9 times. So then times, 4 times 9 is 36. So then subtract. That gives me 1. I've got the drop step. And I bring this next number down, 1. So now I've got what is 4 into divided going into 11. What's 11 divided by 4? So if count by 4s, 4, 8 goes in twice. Now times, so 4 times 2 is 8. Now subtract. 11 take away 8 is 3. Now the drop step, there's nothing here to drop down. So what do? Because I still have a remainder of 3, I need to put in a 0. That's what we call a placeholder. It's holding the line. So I put in a 0 down here, and now I can keep going. So what is 4 going into 30? So 4 goes into 28 7 times. So then 4 times 7 is 28. So subtract. I'm going to have 2 remainder. Then I've got to drop. There's a no number, so I have to add a 0, bring it down. Now start again. Divide. 4 divided into 20 is 5 times. 4 times 5 is 20. So subtract. I've got no remainder, and I don't need to bring anything down because there's no remainder. And that means I don't need to add any more zeros here. That's okay. So my answer is 7.9275. Now, sometimes in maths, it doesn't actually end. Some answers, the numbers will just keep reoccurring. So eventually you will have to stop. So as an example, if the answer was 7.9275555555, and I just realized it's going to keep having a remainder of 5, what you can do is you can cross out all of the other 5s, just put a line on the top to show that 5 reoccurs. Or let's pretend the pattern was, I don't know, 275, 275, and it doesn't end. Well, then I can write 275 just once and then do a line on where the pattern reoccurs. So it reoccurs at 275 and it'll just keep repeating. So that is how you do that. So now, how do we round our answer? So let's round it to the nearest whole number. So that means, remember, if we look at place value, we've got our ones here, we've got our tens, we've got our hundreds, hundredths, we've got our thousandths. So that's tens of thousands. I need just one T. And then we have our tens of thousandths. So my whole numbers is just where the 1 is, and I have to stop at the decimal. So I look to the right of this decimal and I've got a 9. 9, is that a rounding up or rounding down number? Remember, anything between 0 and 4, we need to round down. Anything between 5 and 9, we round up. So, because it's 9, we round up. So that means that this number is going to go up. So it's going to go from 7 to 8. So my answer to the nearest whole number is 8. So 7.9275 is close to 8 if we're going to the nearest whole number. If we had to put our answers to the nearest one decimal, so if I wrote the question again, the answer, the quotient, 7.9275, is that right? I've already forgotten. Yep. Then the nearest one decimal spot, meaning I need to stop here because I've gone one number past the decimal. So I've just got this 9 here. That's where I want to end my number. So I need to go to the next door neighbor of this first decimal and see what it is. Well, it's a 2. So remember, that is a round down number. So it means this number is going to be rounded down. Remember, in maths, you don't minus 1, it just stays the same. So it's going to be 7.9. It doesn't turn to 8 if I'm rounding down, because the number technically is rounding down, because I've got this number here. I've actually had to subtract 275 from the number. So the number has gotten smaller. So when we're rounding down, the number just stays the same. So if it was 9, it still is 9. Great. Now let's see if we can write the answer to the nearest 2 decimal places. Well, here's 7.9275. So the nearest 2 decimal places. Well, here's my first decimal place. Here's my second decimal place, meaning I need to stop here. So look at its next door neighbor. It's a 7. 7 is a rounding up number between 5 and 9. So it means that my number here is going to have to go up by 1. So my answer is, sometimes when you're doing a estimate answer, a roundabout, you do this symbol like a wave. 7.93. So this 2 becomes a 3 because it's my second decimal number, and I'm having to round it up because of its next door neighbor being a 7. Final one, 7.9275, rounded by the nearest 3 decimal places, meaning I need to now stop here at its third 1, 2, 3 numbers. Yeah. So I look at its next door neighbor, and it's a 5. So looking up here, I need to round it up. So this 7 is going to become an 8. So 7.928. Brilliant. Let's say the question said round it to the nearest 4. Well, I don't have a number next to it, so it's just going to stay the same because the next number will be a 0. Every other number will be 0. So that means, let's say I had a question where it's going to be like a lot of numbers that are divided by 7. So if I did 7 into 362 or something, my number's going to have a lot of recurring numbers, and maybe potentially it might not have a pattern in it at all. So how do we know when to stop? Well, if it says go to the nearest 3 decimal places, let's pretend that this is where the decimal is. This is just a complete random answer. I'll go to the nearest 3, so that's here. So if it says go to the nearest 3 decimal places, I'll actually want to stop at this 5. So I won't bother keep going and find out the 6 and the 2. I'll stop here and I'll go, well, this 5 is the rounding up. So I'll change this to a 2, and there's my answer, 17.322. So that's just a pro tip for you. All right, I hope you learned something new.